right, I have turned it on.
Mm.
Oh, he's so cute.
Oh. She. Lyra.
Okay. Are we on?
Yes, according to that right there.
Yay.
Yep.
How did I get to it? I'm confused.
I just scrolled down the feed.
It's being weird. Oh,
That is weird.
Here it says we're live. And there are 2 people watching. It could be you and me.
It could be you and me.
Who knows?
And I have 6 o'clock.
Yep.
I like it.
When I have one thing that we can share, there's a recipe.
Oh, nice.
All right, so I'll have that ready for when we get to that slide.
I love it. All right, well, so we are just waiting for some people to join us. Please make sure you let us know that you're here. Give us a thumbs up or, hit love. Type your name. Well, I guess we could see your name, but let us know where you're watching from. And yay! Hi, Michelle. Oh, and congratulations on graduating, by the way, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you.
Dr. Michelle.
Dr. Michelle, that's right. Exactly. Also, too, oh, I thought I shut that down. Sorry about that. Hang on. Technical difficulties here. Make sure you hit the share button, right? So that it is in your timeline. So that way we can get more listeners, more watchers, more viewers, right? Exactly. I was
get our
try and do it.
Wonderful message out to as many people as possible.
You know what? Exactly. I was on my coaching call today with my coach, and it was really like almost this eye-opening epiphany of, a conversation I was having with a patient yesterday about their child and how in the normal course of a day, there's not a whole lot of time to just really sit and talk with patients at the table side.
Yeah.
And, how can I have these conversations? How can we share our message with more people to have that greater impact, right? And obviously this is one of the portals that we have to really share messages with people. And I'm going to start doing little short snippet videos to put out on Facebook or on Instagram or, wherever, put it in the blog of the website. So, make sure that you really connect and plug in to the messages that we're sharing here, because it will really add value, right? To your life, to your health, to your wellness. And and if you're a current patient here, it'll even add value to the care that you're already getting. So, hi, Linda. Thank you for watching. So I am Dr. Robin Lawrence. This is
Dr. Sarah Ponica.
And we are Get Well Family Chiropractic. Welcome to our hormone balance class.
Very exciting.
We are really excited to share this one. Thank you so much for continuing to join us at our weekly Facebook Live classes, right? We have so much fun putting these classes on, and in this time, a lot of people are pretty much confined to their homes. So you may as well tune into us, right? So, and remember, just share this so that we can share knowledge with more people. If you have any questions, obviously during our time together, make sure you put it in the comments, and we'll make sure that we answer them just to the best as we can, as quickly as we can. And so let's go ahead and get started discussing a few important hormones and their functions.
All right, so we're going to start by talking a little bit about the stress response,
because nobody has that right now.
Yeah, nobody at all. I think this is our 3rd class where we've talked about stress.
Yeah, a little bit. It's dominating our world right now.
All right, so just imagine that you're in the middle of a leisurely walk through the park, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you see an alligator swimming towards the shore. So that would scare me pretty bad, and I think we're probably in Florida for this scenario.
Sure. Yes.
So keep that in the back of your head. This alligator's coming towards you, and we're going to take a look at the body's response to stress. So when your brain senses danger, like that alligator again coming towards you, the area responsible for emotional processing of our brain, which is called the amygdala, signals our hypothalamus, which is also in our central nervous system. So the hypothalamus then activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is where we get our fight or flight response. And so this process leads to a chemical cascade, all of these different processes happening through the body, and it releases the stress hormone, cortisol, and the neurotransmitters, norepinephrine and epinephrine.
Miss Olivia says, or in the woods with a path with snakes,
That's
right?
Good. That's a little closer to home.
It is a little closer to home. And, you know, I also, when I'm talking with patients, right, I say the bear jumps out of the woods, right? And what happens in that moment, right? Heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, breathing rate goes up. Yep. You know, so yeah, you can also use a bear in the woods, right? You got to Kung Fu Panda its butt or run like HE double hockey sticks.
So there are two different parts to the stress response, turning it on and turning it off. So when danger is no longer perceived, the parasympathetic nervous system initiates the relaxation response and brings the hormone balance back to normal. And something interesting that I've learned while I was at school is that it's not just a switch on and off. Like there's different hormones and different pathways to make that sympathetic system, the, you know, fight or flight happen, and then to calm it back down. It's not just turning it on and turning it off.
Yeah, there's a whole, it's like a cascade, like you're on the roller coaster, right? And you're up, 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 and then all of a sudden the stress responds and you're down, and then there's that little kind of in-between time where the body's going, okay, I got to get back into balance. So lots of different hormones and lots of different enzymes and chemical reactions happen during this. So, you know, although there are other hormones at play, right? And we're really gonna just really touch on the surface of, you know, this hormone discussion today. There are so many different hormones, ghrelin, in different other hormones in the body that we're not even going to get on because the discussion is just too deep for today. Yeah. So we're really just going to start at the surface. So, you know, cortisol is our primary stress hormone, and it's really vital to our survival, and it's made from cholesterol. Right? Cholesterol gets such a bad rap, right? And cholesterol is, and it's made in our adrenal glands, right? So if you see on the screen, right, those two little red looking organs, right? Globs. Right, globs. They live on top of your kidneys. And, you know, they're responsible for making this cortisol. And there's a lot of benefits to cortisol, right? So it increases your blood sugar from the glycogen stores in your liver that help fuel the brain and the muscles when you're in that fight or flight. Right, it increases your protein, fat, and carbohydrate metabolism, right? It gives you that energy that your muscles are going to need. Regulates your fluid and electrolyte balances so that you can help maintain a normal blood pressure. In this case, if you're, you know, running from the bear, the snake, or the alligator, right? Oh my, you're going to need some extra blood pressure. It really helps regulate the effects on and the response to the stress in the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and the other areas of your brain, right? Because your brain is what's controlling that stress response. And it helps to regulate adrenaline production. All right, that's that stuff they shoot into our heart when our heart's not working right. Give us some adrenaline. Yep. Now, however, prolonged stress or high levels of cortisol over time negatively impact our health. And these negative impacts include high blood pressure, consistent high blood pressure, consistent high blood sugar, right? Which of course is going to have you increased risk of diabetes, right? And the risk of diabetes increases our abdominal fat, our visceral fat, that brown fat, that bad fat, increases our risk for heart disease, again, stemming from the diabetes and the abdominal fat, hypothyroidism from obviously a diseased or dysfunctioning thyroid, slower wound healing, susceptibility to infections, which means your immune system is deficient, and of course, hormone imbalance, right? Which is what we're here talking about today.
So, neurotransmitters are chemical messengers which translate a lot of different functions within the body, and that includes our heart rate. So many neurotransmitters are synthesized out of different amino acids, which are available in our body from our diet.
Mm-hmm.
So when our neurotransmitters aren't balanced properly, negative health conditions can occur, just like with hormones. So a number of different neurotransmitters actually act in the body as hormones. But neurotransmitters and hormones do have a lot of big differences at their core. So neurotransmitters belong to the nervous system. They're produced by neurons, and they send signals through synaptic connections, which the picture you see on your screen right now is kind of a little, artistic way of
interpretation of
neurons.
neurons.
Neurons and the synapses. And where was I here? And hormones, though, they actually belong to the endocrine system, and they're produced by endocrine glands, like the adrenal glands we talked about, pituitary glands, and they deliver signals through our blood instead of through like synapses and neurons. So, despite their differences, though, it's important to note that levels and balance of hormones are influenced by neurotransmitters. So, for this discussion, we're going to be focusing on a few different neurotransmitters, and those will be epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin.
So let's start with epinephrine and norepinephrine, right? And they're two transmitters that also serve as hormones. Their hormone function stimulates the central nervous system. Epinephrine communicates with receptors in the heart, in the lungs, the arteries, while norepinephrine can only communicate with arterial receptors. So those are like the keyholes in our arteries, which are the blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the body. Epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, and norepinephrine both influence the body by increasing blood sugar levels. They increase your heart rate. They increase the contractility, right, or how hard your heart can squeeze. Additionally, epinephrine allows for the relaxation of smooth muscle in the airways to improve breathing, while norepinephrine can cause blood vessels to narrow, which increases blood pressure. Chronic stress, right, can result in levels either being deficient or too high, of either of these neurotransmitters, and both of which will negatively impact your overall health. So a deficiency of these two can contribute to anxiety, depression, fibromyalgia, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, migraine headaches, right? Restless leg syndrome, sleep disorders. I'm pretty sure you or people have experienced all of those things. Right? I would say so. And excess levels, right? Too much of these, right, can cause high blood pressure, again, anxiety on both sides, excessive sweating, heart palpitations, and even headaches too. Yeah.
So it's really important to have that balance. All right. So dopamine and serotonin are powerful neurotransmitters that influence both mood regulation and concentration. Whether levels are too low or too high, the effects can be detrimental to one's health. So dopamine is responsible for pleasure and satisfaction. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard that. Hi, Ellen. So a lack of dopamine is associated with a lack of motivation, low energy, and poor digestion. When triggered by the stress response, though, dopamine can actually help you. It can help you perceive and process the threat, the alligator, the bear, the snake. It can help you figure out the appropriate response to that, help you to avoid an unpleasant situation coming out of it. And it also helps you to learn and remember to avoid that particular stress event in the future. And it redirects blood flow by dilating blood vessels in certain tissues. And that's done by inhibiting the noradrenaline release in those tissues. And unlike dopamine, serotonin actually does not have the stimulatory effects in the brain like dopamine does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's responsible for calming and evoking positive moods.
Yes.
Serotonin helps to regulate appetite and the sleep cycle, and it suppresses pain. So it makes sense that a deficiency of serotonin is most closely linked to depression if we think about, some causes of depression that could be chemical.
Right. Yeah, you look at depression and anxiety. And I think it's good to note here too that the majority of the serotonin that's made in our bodies is actually made in our gut. Right? So if we're having digestive issues, we're not producing enough serotonin.
Yeah.
So it's worth a look that if you're having depression or anxiety, what's going on in my gut? And and speaking to, a doctor like one of us who, really recognizes the impact there and can help sort things out, it's a good suggestion.
Yeah. And we are going to be looking into that in this later in this presentation.
Absolutely. Oh, darn those stress levels, right? So the body responds to stress, right, dependent on the type and the amount by releasing the appropriate amount of stress-fighting chemicals, right? Those not enzymes, but the hormones and the neurotransmitters that we've been talking about. Now, stress, obviously we all know, can be physiological, right? It can be in our bodies. It can be physical, like we had a slip or a fall or a car accident. Right. Or it can even be psychological, right? We're just stuck in a pattern of thinking that is just so stressful. And the origin can be internal, right? Or it can be something external out in our environment. And it's obvious, right? The manifestations can be mild, it can be severe, it really can be anything in between. Stress hormones are protective, right, during stress, and they act to maintain the vital systems in the body, increasing blood pressure, the oxygenation within the blood, the sugar within the blood, to best prepare us to cope with that impending stress, right? However, adverse reactions can occur when the stress triggers a high level of hormone response, right? Almost like an over response, right? And this is really seen in times of chronic stress, and I think it's safe to say that, with the stay-at-home orders, right? We are under chronic stress. It's been 8 weeks, right? That everyone has been told to stay at home. Don't go out if you don't have to. And we're really seeing in the patients that are coming in a lot of the effect now of the chronic stress and knowing that this hormone imbalance is there. And we've been giving some, nutrition recommendations and meditation and exercise stuff. So, all right. So I diverted. However, adverse reactions can occur when that stress level is too high. And this is seen most during like chronic stress, what we just said. And there's no time for the hormones to properly rebalance, which eventually then leads to disease, right? So before you're diagnosed with diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you're in what we call a state of dis-ease, right? There's a hyphen in there. We're not diseased, but we are in a state of dis-ease that if left unchecked and uncorrected will lead to disease. And the degree of hormonal response and the amount of stress hormone released really depends on the following, right? The type and the degree and the duration of the stress, right? One, how do you perceive the stress, right? What may be not real significant to you is hugely significant to someone else, right? Your life experience with stress, your age, your gender, how frequently the stress may occur. Have you been exposed to this stress previously? Maybe this has happened before. And then, of course, obviously the context and the environment of the stress. Context is really decisive. Hi, Kara. Thanks for joining us.
All right. So now we're going to talk about sex hormones. So the primary sex hormones are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So cortisol, which remember we said is the primary stress hormone, blocks the secretion of the body's main fertility hormone, which is called GnRH, and is responsible for releasing our sex hormones. So this can be okay during periods of acute stress, like that alligator running towards us, the bear, the snake. But chronic stress can result in lasting effects, like with regards to the cortisol affecting the GnRH to not be made. So both men and women can experience low libido because of this, and they could even have decreased fertility if they have too much cortisol surging through their body.
Right, and I think this is, and I'm going to interject. I apologize.
No, go right ahead.
That so many people think hormone problems are just women, right? And this really is a topic for men. So, ladies, as you're listening to what we're talking about today, think about what's going on in the men in your lives, right? Your husbands, your brothers, maybe even your sons, depending on their age. That this may be affecting them as well.
Absolutely. So it's definitely clear, I would say, that this can be an issue if it stays persistent. Some sex hormones control some of the most influential processes in the body, including pregnancy, puberty, regulating monthly cycles, menopause, hair growth, skin complexion, muscle density, for those guys out there, and, and fat storage. And these sex hormones that I mentioned can complement each other or function as opposites, which is why it's really important that they are present in the right ratio. And during chronic stress, again, your body might think that it needs more cortisol. And in order to make more, the body steals from your sex hormone system and it uses your progesterone to create the cortisol. And that can quickly become a difficult cycle because our hormones just are not being used the way that they should be.
Yeah, right. And, and when you start stealing progesterone, the testosterone estrogen balance just gets all out of whack.
Crazy.
Yeah, so let's dive a little deeper into estrogen. Estrogen is needed in higher amounts for women. Obviously, its primary function is growth and development, but it really affects nearly all of the body systems, right? It's created not only in our ovaries and our uterus, but our body fat, right? Breast tissue, body fat also creates estrogens. So a deficiency, so listen to some of these symptoms, and it may be an estrogen deficiency for you. A foggy mind, hot flashes, depression, memory lapses. Like I'm forever walking around here trying to find my water bottle and my glasses.
That's true.
Headaches, vaginal dryness, irregular periods, urine leakage, sleep problems, and bone loss, right? We all know that, when we have things are out of balance, our bodies rob the calcium and the minerals from our bones, right? Okay, so if that's you, we got some things to work with. Now, excess estrogen, right? Heavy bleeding, right? Heavy periods, breast tenderness, an increase in your premenstrual symptoms, stronger mood swings, stronger cramps, headaches, more bloating, right? Fibrocystic breasts, ovarian cysts, abdominal weight, like if you carry all your weight in your abdomen, anxiety and irritability, water retention, right? So your legs a little swollen, those ankles swollen, an increase in triglyceride levels, right? So a lot of people don't know that this imbalance can create high triglycerides, which is a part of the cholesterol that we measure. You may not need a cholesterol medication. We may just need to balance your hormones. So in short, estrogen is one of the most common hormones for women in terms of health. Any imbalance, whether it's deficient or excess, can cause a host of issues. Hi, Mama. Thanks for watching.
Hello. All right, so testosterone, we know, is the predominant hormone in men, and it's responsible for healthy muscle mass, stamina, energy, bone density, memory, and strength. Too much testosterone can cause aggression, depression, impotence, and excessive libido. But a deficiency in testosterone affects more than just the sexual function. Both men and women are faced with complications without an adequate supply of testosterone. Testosterone deficiency is associated with decreased sex drive, increased depression and anxiety, fatigue, and inability to concentrate, a decline in memory and cognitive skills, decreased muscle mass and strength, loss of body hair, decreased bone mass, which could lead to osteoporosis, just like not having enough estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
An increase of abdominal and pectoral fat, and then sleep issues.
Seems a lot of things affect our sleep.
Yeah.
All right, so let's really now look at what causes, or what are some of the causes of hormonal imbalances, right? It's really the result of a lot of different factors. Undereating. So many of our fad diets do not take into account hormone balance. Also in general, a frequent weight loss and weight gain is a huge factor in hormonal imbalance. Well, eating the wrong food for your body, right? Many foods negatively impact the hormone balances when we're eaten in the wrong proportions. Stress, I think we've already touched on stress and how, devastating it can be, and the impact on hormone activity. It's really responsible for transforming a significant imbalance in the hormones. Toxic overload, right? And this one is, I think, really emerging as a discussion and a conversation. Toxins enter our body through our diets, right? Fillers, additives, colors, right? Environmental pollution, right? We've seen with this world stay-at-home order, the pollution levels decreasing over cities in China and India. Even here in the United States, we're seeing things in the sky and in the distance that we've not seen in decades. And many of our household products, right, our cleaning chemicals are full of chemicals that are hormone disruptors. And women, I hate to say it, and I'm one to use them all, right? Our fingernail polish, our makeup, our hair products, our body products, all contain, now there are some, let me take that back. Most contain these hormone and endocrine disruptors. So we really need to look at the products that we're using in order to take that chronic exposure out. Too many toxins overburden our liver, right? And our liver is responsible for filtering things out of the body. And when we can't break down those excess hormones, they just build up, right? High percentage of body fat, right? If you have too much body fat, right, you're going to have a low testosterone, high estrogen level. Remember I said earlier, body fat makes estrogen. And there's an enzyme in that fat that converts testosterone to estrogen, and that's how that happens, right? And it's a negative effect to both men and women, right? And it's regardless of your age. Now, aging, right? Especially us women who, move from, menstruating into perimenopausal and then into menopausal, our progesterone decreases faster than estrogen as women age, leading to an estrogen dominance, right? And as men age, testosterone levels decline. However, their estrogen declines at a much slower pace, right? Leading to an imbalance of testosterone and estrogen.
Okay. So what are some signs and symptoms of hormonal imbalances? There's two types of problems that tend to occur when our hormones are out of balance. First, we can have uncomfortable symptoms that change how you think, feel, and act. It's a little scary there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Actually, like my some of my premenstrual stuff, not that anybody really needs to know this, but sometimes I'm like a crazy person. Like things that don't normally make me angry totally make me angry.
Well, like I'll be like, oh, Dr. Robin, you're in kind of a mood today. He's like, he's like, oh, I know why.
Yep, exactly. It's true. Ask my kids.
And the second kind of problem that can happen is an increased risk of illness. So that would include an increase in depression, Alzheimer's, heart disease, osteoporosis, diabetes, and certain cancers even. So both of these outcomes from hormonal imbalances can negatively affect our quality of life to some varying degrees. And some common particular hormone imbalance signs include infertility and irregular periods, unexplained weight gain or weight loss, depression and anxiety, fatigue, insomnia, low libido, changes in appetite, digestive issues, hair loss or thinning, and much more. The list goes on and on.
Right, it really does. And I think that a lot of people can probably relate to changes in appetite, right? Because a lot of us are stress eating right now, right? We think that we're hungry, right? That cortisol level is up and it's saying you need more energy, so eat, right? And don't eat your fruits and vegetables, right? Eat your sugar and your chocolate and your potato chips, because that satisfies that
craving.
Yes. Nope. That also has a whole host of chemical and hormonal enzymes to it. You know, we really talked a little bit about food earlier, and food does matter, right? It's huge. You know, we've all heard garbage in, garbage out. You know, we all have heard you are what you eat, right? However, our diets are filled with so many unknown impacts for our hormone balances, right? Some common diet mistakes, right, that negatively impact our hormone balance include eating too little fatty acids, right? Our omega-3s and 6s and 9s, right? We eat too little fiber, right? Because we're too busy eating refined carbohydrates and potato chips. We're eating too many carbohydrates, period, right? Too much soy, right? Soy milk, soy sauce, all those soys are estrogen disruptors, right? Too much alcohol, right? I'm sure you've seen the memes, right? Our poor children are going to be being educated by day drunks.
Yep.
We have too many unhealthy fats. We're clearly too much sugar, too many processed foods, you know, and as a way to combat these common diet mishaps, really include the following foods into your diet and make a conscious effort of this. You know, I really always encourage people to keep a food diary, right? To see what are you really putting in, right? Now, flax seeds are a great compound that can bind to the estrogen receptors and help excrete excess estrogen from the body. It's also a great way to get omegas, especially if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, right? Fish oils you may not want to take because you're vegetarian or vegan. Cruciferous vegetables, right? Anything that looks like a tree. Broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, those Brussels sprouts, we call them Brussels sprouts in my house. They contain an important nutrient that helps prevent estrogen-related cancers and helps to, again, eliminate excess estrogen. This is really hard to say due to the high fiber content. Lentils, gotta love me some lentils, right? They provide a great source of protein and fiber, again, especially if you're a vegetarian or vegan, resulting in reduced estrogen levels, in addition to containing zinc, right? And zinc is huge for testosterone levels in men and women. Sweet potatoes, I actually had one today for lunch. The tubers are high in B6. They help the liver to detoxify. And then, you know, this frees up the liver for breaking down the other excess hormones, right? And honestly, these are just a fraction of the yummy foods that will work in your favor. And there are so many books out there about balancing hormone diets and things like that. You know, and we are always here to give any, have conversation or advice or recommendations. So, you know, if you have questions, make sure you put them into the comments and we'll get them answered. And as always, we'll put our links to all of our research, you know, where we got our content for this will be in the comments later today as well.
Okay. So, the foods that we eat on a regular basis can either work for us or against us.
Oh, hey, Jennifer.
No, you're fine. Sorry. Awkward pause for me. So yeah, the foods that we eat regularly can work for us or against us, just like we discussed before. So first, I'm going to say a little bit about our gut health, though. So we kind of alluded to this earlier, but our overall health, as well as many diseases, have been linked to our digestive health. So research has proven that gut or digestive health is basically completely synonymous with hormonal balance.
Synonymous, hand in hand.
Yeah, I put that word in there earlier.
Love that word.
It's better than what they said. So the gut is teeming with all kinds of bacteria, and it has beneficial and problematic bacteria. So the key is to make sure that the good bacteria outnumber the bad. And this is best done through our diets. So Chinese, Indian, and Japanese medical traditions have known this for thousands of years. And so in the next few slides, we're going to talk about how the following can improve our hormone balance. So we'll be talking about healthy fats, probiotics, digestive enzymes, which we're talking a lot more about
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
office lately.
all the time here.
And then supplements and adaptogenic herbs.
My favorite herbs. All right, so let's talk about healthy fats, right? Your body needs a variety. It is a variety of fat to create hormones, right? Our hormones are based out of fat. They include the short chain, the medium chain, and the long chain. We also need saturated fats, and we need, believe it or not, cholesterol to make our hormones. The fat is an essential building block for hormone production. They also keep inflammation levels low. They boost our metabolism. They promote weight loss. And, really aim for 15 to 30 grams of healthy fats a day. This way, so sorry about that. This amount really aids in the stabilization and the production of the stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline. Now, omega-3 acids are important for cell-to-cell communication in the brain, like we were talking earlier with those synapses, right? And the messages jump across those little spaces to get to the next neuron. But for them to work the best, we need an adequate amount of omega-6. Omega-6 containing foods that aren't going to be adequate to achieve this balance includes safflower, sunflower, corn, cottonseed, canola, which actually doesn't exist in the real world, soybean, and peanut oil. A healthy omega-6 containing food, however, is hemp seeds, which are rich in gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA, which supports a healthy progesterone level. Good sources of anti-inflammatory healthy omega-3 fats include coconut oil, avocados, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, grass-fed butter, my favorite butter, and wild-caught salmon. And the benefits of avocado in particular include improving heart health, lowering inflammation, controlling your appetite, and just really contributing to your daily intake of fiber and nutrients. And I think it's apropos that we're talking about avocados today because it's Cinco de Mayo. So get your guacamole on tonight.
I was going to say I had 2 mini avocados today already.
Nice!
And just from looking over this PowerPoint, I also had a smoothie that had kefir in it, which we're going to talk about in a second. And I added chia seeds and flax seeds.
Nice!
And I think hemp seeds too.
Right on. There you go.
I was like, I need all of these things for my hormones.
Right, exactly.
All right, probiotics. So probiotics are known as the beneficial bacteria found in our guts. And the right balance of probiotics can improve our production and regulation of key hormones. So foods that contain these healthy probiotics include kefir, bone broth, sourdough bread, low sugar kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut, natto, miso, and apple cider vinegar.
How come there's no strawberry yogurt on that list, Dr. Sarah?
Well, you see, there's a lot of sugar in there, I think.
I think you're absolutely right. But Dr. Sarah, doesn't yogurt give us healthy probiotics? I get this question all the time. And I have to remind my patients, right, that yes, there are probiotics, but there is too much sugar and it outweighs the benefit of the probiotic in the yogurt. So you're much better getting them from the list that Dr. Sarah just recommended.
Absolutely. And so you want to aim for at least 2 servings per day of these yummy, healthy probiotic foods that we listed. Also, high fiber foods such as chia seeds and flax seeds naturally feed probiotics in your system. So there you go. That's why I made my smoothie earlier today from reading this exact slide. So some common culprits linked to the destruction of healthy gut bacteria. Overuse of prescription antibiotics, which that's huge.
It really is.
And yeah, I know a lot of parents can tend to get antibiotics whenever anything happens.
Everything that, and it's it's not the parents, it's the pediatricians.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Giving antibiotics in places that they don't need to be given.
So that's a big no-no for our gut flora. And excessive sugar is also linked to the destruction of our healthy gut bacteria.
Well, because the sugar then grows candida, right? Which is a fungi, right? And now we're all filled with, yucky candida. Sometimes we see a coated tongue. Candida is like diaper rash in babies. Yeah.
Emotional stress can hurt our gut flora as well. Medications, alcohol, lack of exercise, over sanitation.
Ooh, and this one is really big right now, right? Over sanitation. So here we are in a world where we're being told, wash your hands with soap and water and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. And if you're doing this 20, 30 times a day, you're actually disrupting the gut flora. We need to be exposed to certain bacteria in order to keep our gut flora happy. So if there's one thing I can really, really encourage people is soap and water is enough, right? Or, EO water, the 2.5 pH water that you can get directly from a water processor at your kitchen sink. Again, if you want to know more about that, that's a whole separate discussion. But, save the alcohol-based hand sanitizers for rare occasions.
Yeah.
Right? If you know that you've been around somebody or you've touched something just really gross, maybe use it then. But again, soap and water, soap and water, soap and water, soap and water. And it won't dry your hands out as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So smoking is also going to, disrupt our gut flora and a lot of other terrible things that we all know about.
Ooh, yes, we do.
And then finally, poor sleep habits. That came back again.
Again, you know what? Yeah, so much. We're going to have to do a class on sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am down.
All right. So one of my favorite new topics is enzymes. Enzymes. So let's talk about digestive enzymes. The body naturally produces enzymes that break down the food that we eat. Now, however, some people have trouble digesting fat and can benefit from digestive enzymes with lipase to help metabolize them better. There are other enzymes that also help us break down our food and our gut into smaller particles, making it easier for us to absorb those nutrients, right? And what you want to look for is something that also has amylase in it to help you break down starches. We talked about lipase breaking down fat, and protease to break down protein. And I also want to just add in here that if you have indigestion, you have GERD, right? Heartburn, more than likely you have a lack of digestive enzymes in your system and your food is just churning and it's not breaking down and it's creating pressure. And the sphincter from the stomach, esophagus to the stomach has to open up to release that pressure because the one from the stomach to the small intestine will not, because it's pH sensitive and it's pressure sensitive. It's not pressure sensitive. So now all that stuff is coming back up here. So if you're on antacids or taking Tums like they're candy, maybe starting some digestive enzymes when you're eating to help break down your foods will actually reduce that symptom and allow the body to heal, right? And then start producing them on your own.
And it's so much more natural.
It is.
All right, supplements. So getting all the nutrients that we need just through our diet alone can sometimes be a challenge, but fortunately, supplementation can help, specifically with magnesium and B and D vitamins. Magnesium is a micromineral and is needed for a lot of different functions throughout our bodies. One of them is that magnesium helps to calm the nervous system and it prevents the production of excess cortisol. So that would definitely help in a lot of what we talked about.
Yes, absolutely.
Magnesium deficiency is on the rise because of a drastic decline in food sources over the years that have any good amount of magnesium in them. A report estimated that magnesium content in vegetables has seen declines up to 80% since pre-1950 figures, and typical grain refining processes for bread and pasta remove 80 to 95% of the total magnesium.
That's crazy.
Moving on to vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency is also on the rise. Vitamin D acts as a hormone inside of our body, and it helps to keep inflammation levels low. It also works to regulate estrogen levels in the body. It's termed the sunshine vitamin because the body creates vitamin D when it's exposed to sunlight, but with everyone covering up and slathering on the sunblock, and you know, a lot of people also kind of just being homebodies right now. We might not be getting enough direct sun exposure to get all that vitamin D, and that's one of the reasons why it's a good idea to supplement with vitamin D. And did you have anything else to say about vitamin D?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and vitamin D also helps boost the immune system. It acts as an antiviral and an antibacterial. So if there's, you know, you're out and about and, you know, our stay-at-home orders are being lifted and you want to like really give yourself some security and some strength in your immune system, you know, 10,000 to 15,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, along with, you know, 6,000 to 8,000 milligrams of vitamin C and your B complex, you know, you're really going to have a good bolster to your immune system, and you guys will be good out there.
So our B vitamins also play a lot of vital roles in the body because there's so many different B vitamins, 8 of them that, I know there's actually 12, I think, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, but there's 8 that are not made by the body, I think. So they need to be, you know, they need to be supplemented. So it's recommended to take a B complex supplement, and that will help you to ensure that you're getting the intake of each of those different B vitamins that you need. And B vitamins are responsible for liver detoxification, mood elevating effects, nerve function, and maintaining estrogen balance. So it is possible for you to get all of your required nutrients through your diet, but it's definitely very difficult to do. So supplements can definitely help with that.
Absolutely. And there's one more little tidbit I wanted to talk about supplements. A lot of the supplements that you guys can get over the counter at the drugstore, the grocery store, the big box stores, I can't even imagine being a consumer and trying to buy vitamins or supplements over the counter. There's 3 versions of supplements that you can get, right? A tablet form, right? I highly recommend you do not take anything in tablet form. They're bound together with binders. Most of them are coated with an enteric coating or a shellac so they don't upset your stomach. You may digest 10 to 20% of that tablet, which means the rest of it is being eliminated in the toilet. Then you have another option of a vitamin that is a powder form that you mix with water, right? It's called isotonic. It's the exact pH of that little sphincter we were talking about earlier, so it goes immediately into the intestine and into the bloodstream. No digestive processes are invoked. You're going to absorb 98% of what you put in your body in that dose. And then, of course, IV nutrition, right? The vitamins are going right into the blood, bypassing all of the gut and everything. So IV is your best way to get it. Isotonic is your second best way. A capsule, all right, is another version, which the capsules, our bodies will break them down real readily. You know, sometimes there's still fillers in those capsules or other additives. So, you know, be careful what you're buying. And then last but not least, you know, don't buy a tablet, you know, if you don't have to. And then a word on gummies. We love our gummies, right? Lots of sugar, lots of colors. Doses probably are not really accurate, right? And then we're going to, you know, just munch on them like they're fruit snacks or something like that. So if you would like recommendations on brands of supplements to purchase if you're, you know, out at a health food store, or, you know, you want to look at what we have here in the office. We have lots of different varieties and lines, and I can customize the nutrition that you need based on symptoms, based on DNA, whatever it is that you're looking for, we have the resources here for you as well.
Awesome.
Oh, yay. And I get to talk more. How exciting. And about adaptogens, right? It's one of my favorite subjects. So what in the world are adaptogens, right? It's a unique class of healing plants to help restore imbalances, right? And normalize physiological functions in the body. A number of these herbs have been investigated for adaptogenic properties that promote hormone balance, right, what we're talking about, and that protect the body from a variety of diseases, right, including chronic stress-related illnesses. For example, right, ashwagandha, medicinal mushrooms, rhodiola, and holy basil have been studied and proven to have the following benefits, right? They improve thyroid function. They lower cholesterol naturally. They reduce anxiety and depression. They reduce brain cell degeneration, right? So that means your brain's going to function for a long, long time, right? Dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Stabilize blood sugar and insulin levels. They support adrenal gland function. Remember that slide from way back with those two little blobs up in the tummy. Ashwagandha in particular can be extremely effective in balancing hormones and can also overcome adrenal fatigue. Its effect on cortisol, stress tolerance, and internal stress responses have been studied for decades. Holy basil also helps to regulate cortisol levels, making it a viable natural remedy for anxiety and emotional stress. Additionally, studies reveal hormone imbalance related to chemical stress from pollutants and heavy metals can also be restored by holy basil.
Holy basil.
Holy basil!
So, ashwagandha is traditionally used as a powder and can be made into a tea. And we have a couple of very simple recipes for a tea and a tonic that we're going to post in the comments. So the tea it's very, very simple. The tea is just going to have a half a teaspoon of ashwagandha powder, a cup of hot water, and then a teaspoon of honey.
Yeah.
And then the tonic will have 1 to 2 teaspoons of the ashwagandha powder, 2 cups of milk, and 1 tablespoon of raw sugar, and 1/8 teaspoon of cardamom.
Cardamom.
And ashwagandha can also be taken in a tablet form, but as we've learned, tablets are not a good
choice, right?
Or you can get it as a liquid extract as well.
Ooh, yay, essential oils, another one of my favorite topics, right?
Back to last week.
Right, we're back to last week now. So, essential oils offer a real nice natural way to combat chemical-ridden conventional body care products. Harmful chemicals including DEA, parabens, propylene glycol, sodium lauryl sulfate are all hormone disruptors and encourage imbalances. So I'm just going to kind of run through a quick list of some of the oils and how they help. So clary sage, right, helps to restore estrogen balance. You can diffuse it, 3 to 5 drops of clary sage will help to balance out hormones and relieve stress. Fennel helps to relax the body. It clearly improves digestion and gut health, which we know from our discussion is going to improve hormone balance. It boosts your metabolism. It reduces inflammation. Depending on your grade of fennel, you can add 1 or 2 drops to a glass of warm water and take it internally. Lavender, everybody loves lavender. Promotes an emotional balance, treats anxiety, depression, and stress. Put it in your bath with some bubbles and just sit back and relax. Sandalwood, so earthy, right? Just triggers peaceful feelings, reducing overall stress. And again, as we know, we talked a lot about stress. We're just reducing your stress in your body, right? Is going to help restore hormone balance. Thyme, not what time is it, but thyme, the herb, improves progesterone production and helps to balance hormones naturally. You can add 2 drops of thyme to a warm bath, or you can rub it 2 to 3 drops with equal part coconut oil, and then just rub it on your belly. And then I also found a study that was done in 2017 on 10 different essential oils to see if they had any impact on estrogen secretion. And the oils were clary sage, frankincense, geranium, lavender, jasmine absolute, neroli, rose otto, ylang ylang, orange, and Roman chamomile. And the study concurred with previous studies that exposure to these oils olfactory, like putting them in a diffuser or on your hands and inhaling, can actually influence the salivary secretion of estrogen. And we'll post the link to that article in the comments when we're done.
All right, so that is all the information that we had for you guys today. This is one of our longer classes, I think.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good topics out there today.
We did.
And so we're going to go ahead and post the resources, like Dr. Robbins said.
Yeah, send us any messages or comments. Again, thank you for joining us again today. Each week we say, there are so many other things that you could be doing right now, right? Spending time with your family, eating dinner.
Celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, right? I totally forgot our sombreros. We were going to do class in sombreros today. We really hope that what you learned today was of value, right? And that there's some things that you can put in place in your life right now to help restore hormone balance and improve your health. If you have any questions, again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love sharing this information with you, add it to your toolbox. Mother's Day is Sunday, right? So happy Mother's Day to all of our moms out there. We love you. And, in the spirit of Mother's Day, next week's class is called Women's Health 101. And it will be all about the most important steps that we women need to take care of ourselves to stay healthy and well.
Absolutely. And I wanted to say, we made an event on our Facebook page, Get Well Family Chiropractic, for next week's class, the Women's Health 101. And we would love if you guys would just head right over to that event now and, maybe put down if you're interested or if you already want to go. And then if you want, you can share it with your friends.
Share
your friends, because I think next week's class is going to be pretty great for the ladies.
Absolutely.
And
we've actually got the whole month planned. We do. Right? So Women's Health 101, the Science of Happiness is the week after that. And the last week of May is check your habits, right? Are your habits moving you toward health and well-being or moving you away from health and well-being? And if they're doing that way, what do you got to do to get them in check? Yep. And it's going to be a really a lot of things to put in your toolbox. Yeah. I'm excited. Yay! Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. We love you. See you next week.